click on the player, and they can listen on their website. And that sounds great, except they're running ads against your content now. They're making money on your podcast. You want to make money on your podcast, not them. So, if possible, keep it on your website. It can be on others, but make sure you have it on your website as well, when possible. Yes?
So when you say hosting, that would be like using a YouTube video on your website.
YouTube is a great example of that, yes.
Okay.
If you're doing a video podcast and you're uploading it to YouTube,
Okay.
Google is making trillions of zillions of dollars running advertising against content on YouTube.
So, okay, then let me ask you this. I have a website,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Where do I put, I have to have someone do some HTML, right, to make a place to put the podcast?
No, not necessarily. In fact, not at all. When you use your FTP client,
Right.
you get your login information for your web host. They're going to give you a username and a password.
Right.
Chances are you already know what it is.
Right.
You log into your website through your FTP client, and you're going to be shown a directory, a hierarchy of folders and files that represents your website.
Okay.
All you got to do is right-click and say, create new folder, call it podcasts. And then you upload all of your episodes into that folder. Done. That's all you got to do.
But how will it visually match the rest of the
We're going to get to that.
Oh, yeah.
That's how we're going to talk about posting it to
I
WordPress.
understand.
Yep, and that's going to make that connection for you.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, okay, so yes, so hosting providers will often run advertising against your content. They will also, in some instances that I've heard of, they will exercise copyright over your content. When you upload to certain web hosts, they will say, okay, you know what? Our terms of service say we own your show now. You got to read the terms of service whenever you sign up for web-based services like this. I've often joked that Microsoft could put "we own your firstborn child" into the terms of service for Windows, and the population of Redmond, Washington would skyrocket because nobody ever reads those things. You got to read them though, because when you're creating content, you stand to lose that content if you don't read these things. I've been told that if I wasn't hosted where I am on geekcast.fm, that I should be hosted on. Am I on the right slide here? I'm not. Let's keep going. Web host, useful only if you have unlimited bandwidth. See, I get ahead of myself. You might be giving up some control if you upload it to a file service. I've been told that if I wasn't hosted on Geekcast, I should be hosted on libsyn, or liberated syndication. It's not free. It does cost a few bucks a month. In the checking that I did, for the amount of show that I do every month, I'd be paying about 12 bucks a month. Which, if you monetize and you make a little bit of money later on, you can offset that, or even, blow right past it. So that may or may not be a concern for you. But again, if you've got a good web host, that ought to be your first consideration. If you're not limited by bandwidth considerations, that ought to be your first consideration. And now we get into what you asked about hosting. And you can use any website you want. Doesn't matter if it's Blogger, LiveJournal, hand-coded HTML. My method of choice is WordPress because I've been using it for years and I'm really, really good at it. I can't show you all the ways to post on other systems because I don't use them. And we'd be here all night because there are dozens of other systems we could be using. So I'm going to show you a few things in WordPress because it's very, very popular. There's a plugin for WordPress called PowerPress. You may have heard of one called PodPress. PowerPress blows it away in terms of features, support, coolness, I guess, ease of use. It's just an overall better plugin. It's called PowerPress. And we're going to look at it right here real quick. I'm going to show you a little thing I recorded. The first thing you want to look at is your iTunes URL. If you want your show to show up in iTunes, you need to know that. We're going to talk about how to get that in a few minutes.
This is PowerPress, is that right?
PowerPress. You set your iTunes feed in here. That means you're setting the title of your show, not each episode, the title of your show. This is what's going to show up in iTunes in the podcast directory. Type in a summary, what is your show about? Choose your categories. I chose technology, kids and family, society and culture for our show. And then save your changes and iTunes talent name. Apparently we're talent. I like that. You set all these things in PowerPress. It sends it all to iTunes. Done deal. Once you've got the plugin set up, doing each episode is very, very easy. You do it the same way you would do any text-based post that you want to do. Yep.
Were you just creating your ID free?
No, that was setting up your podcast for inclusion in the iTunes podcast.
Okay, so that you've already done. Gotcha. All right.
Post title, enter your show notes in the big text box, choose a category. All stuff you normally do when you're posting a text-based post to WordPress. Only, custom title tags rock. Yes, they do. If you can set the title of your post on a per post basis, great for the search engines. Don't ignore putting in a custom description. Again, if you can do that, awesome. This is a theme that I use for WordPress called Thesis. Yeah.
A little on topic. You have a thing on the right-hand side that said post to Twitter.
Post to Twitter, yeah.
Where's that coming from?
That's a plugin, and I'll get back to you on the name of the plugin.
Okay.
I don't recall the name.
It's not,
Twitter? No, I don't think it's Twitter.
just curious.
I'll get back
It's
to
fine.
you. Okay, so all right, I'm using Thesis as a theme. That gives me a lot of extra options for setting a custom title, custom description, things like that. At the bottom is where you enter your podcast episode information. This is where you have uploaded it to, right here. Podtrack.com/blah, blah, 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 blah. Podtrack is a service that I use to track my downloads, my listeners. You can use it too, it's awesome. podtrac.com. Great service.
Is there any reason you can use the Blueberry?
Blueberry is PowerPress.
But they have like an extra stats?
They do have a stats package, but it costs money. Podtrack is free. Yeah. But you're right, Blueberry is the name of the company that produces the PowerPress plugin. It restarted. Very good. And then you hit publish, and there you go. Yeah.
The podtrack.com,
Yes.
It'd be like sort of they put it up onto iTunes for you, or you're just
No.
giving that URL so they can track traffic on your podcast?
They track the traffic on your podcast. So you upload it to your server via FTP, and the URL that Podtrack gives you is podtrack.com/mp3 blah 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 / and then the URL of your file. So it'll say, like in our instance, geekcast.fm is the host. It'll say podtrack.com /blah blah blah /geekcast.fm /podcast /geekdowns weekly, and then the name of the file. Whenever anybody downloads, it bounces through Podtrack, gets counted, and then they download the file from my source, from Geekcast. It's got nothing to do with iTunes. That's a separate thing, but the same plugin handles it. Handles iTunes and